Okay, I have a program for you this time that minifies CSS files, JavaScript files, and HTML files. And what that is basically it takes your CSS file, removes any unnecessary sort of line spacing and formatting to get this file more condensed, smaller, hopefully a smaller file size, and at the end of the day, hopefully it'll load, your website will hopefully load faster and have better results in SEO rankings, which may in turn get you better results for your site listing in search engines. I really recommend you do this, if for no other reason than to help speed up your website. I would not recommend overriding your actual working files, the ones you want to edit, otherwise you might have complications trying to edit your files. I would export your website to a separate folder, in this case export, and work with those. So it will speed up, hopefully, compress CSS, .js, JavaScript files, HTML. Now with HTML, this is just one small bug I found with this. With HTML, let me show you. Here we have my main file. It is the index.html, and this is what you'd have as your first file, your home page. You'd have your index.html or .htm. Now, how I do it is my main homepage is a .html, a index.html. Then all other pages are .htm. Well, let me show you. There's a little bug, which should only be a small quick fix, is all they need. If you drag this on, fine, and I can minify. There you go, done. But if I try to drag on one of these others, even though they are HTML files, so it should work, it won't let me drag them on because they have a .htm extension and it is looking only for .html, CSS, or .js. So, but it should work with these, so it needs just a small fix. Now, CSS, drag on fine. Here is a javascript.js file here, and we can drag it on and minify. And done. Now, what about websites like this here of mine, where you have subfolders with files within subfolders? How can you easily drag them on? Well, you could, of course, go to them one at a time, but that's a nuisance. In Finder, you can search for JS for JavaScript, select kinds, JavaScript, and presumably it should find all of the JS files within export and within subfolders within export. However, sometimes Finder can glitch or whatever. Sometimes I've had it where it won't search within subfolders. If this happens to you, you can always download a free program available from the Mac App Store called Easy Find. You select the main folder, in this case export, then you can search for, say, Java, JS, and it will find all JS files within the export folder and the export subfolders. Then you can select these, go to your smaller, and drag them on and minify. The same with HTML and the same with CSS. Okay, so that's just a little tip for you. Let's have a look at preferences. This is the latest version at the time of making this review. It's version 1.3.9 and it's by a company called 25.io. And their website is simply 25.io. Now let's have a look at preferences. You can automatically start minifying on drop, and what that does is as soon as you drop a file onto the window, it will minify that file. It won't wait for you to press minify. I personally like to just put all the files on, then hit the button. You can support HTML, you can do PHP, PHTML compression. I'm not really sure about that, so I just leave it off. Don't import any files that are already minified with a .min extension. You probably don't want to, so I'd leave that ticked. Output, you can either output over the top of the file. So if you drag CSS on, if you have it set like this and have saved minified files to the same folder, it'll overwrite the original CSS. If you've already exported it, like how I'm doing it, that's fine. I'd have it do it that way. But if you are importing your working files, I would perhaps change this to a different folder to make sure you're not overriding your working files. You can show a badge in the dock, which is down here, this 13 badge, or if you had 14 files, it'd say 14 or whatever. Play a sound and notify when the task is done. So when you hit Minify and it finishes doing all the files, it'll make a little sort of cha-ching, whatever sort of noise. Now, CSS and JS, insert the line break every so many characters. I don't bother with that. Disable all the built-in micro-optimizations for JavaScript. Minify only. Do not mess with local symbols. Preserve unnecessary semicolons, such as the right semicolon. I just leave that off. And do you want to create a separate gzipped version of your finished files? I don't bother with that either. This is really handy because even if you don't care about your SEO results and you don't care about your ranking on search engines, I would still recommend your final files before you upload them to your server or web host. I recommend you take all your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files, minify them with smaller, just to make sure your site is a little bit snappier for your end user when they try to load your website. It's a great program. I really do recommend it. Did I find any bugs or suggestions? Just the one small bug where you can drag .html files on, but you can't drag .htm. You should be able to do that. It's just a small little fix that's needed there. Suggestions. The only suggestion I have for making this program better would be if it supported optimizing your image files. So it'd be good if you could optimize your JPEGs and your PNG files, because you also, to make your site load quicker and get better results, you're going to want to make your images load faster and optimize them. You can do this with a free program on Mac called Image Optim or whatever, it doesn't matter. But this free program here, you can find it. Their website isn't listed there, but you can search Google for it and you'll find it, and it's free. You use it like Smaller, but you drag, let me show you, you drag, say, PNG, drag your PNG on. This is already optimized, but if it wasn't, it would just have ticked that, optimize, and say, and over here it would say like 10% savings in file size, and it will make the file smaller and load quicker. But it would be good if instead of having to load separate programs, it would be good if Smaller allowed you to do your images as well. So you could drag your HTML on, drag your CSS files, drag your JavaScripts, drag your PNG and JPEGs on, and do them all at the same time from within one program. That would be so handy. But like I say, in the meantime, until or unless they add that, you can still do it with that separate free program available from their the other company's website. But anyway, yeah, that is the only bug I found. You need to be able to drag .htm on as well as .html, and it would be nice if they added the addition of image file support. But apart from that, I do really, really recommend it. It's really handy to optimize your website speed. There is a 30-day trial available from their website. A link will be in the description. Thanks for watching. Please like and share this video, and if you could do me a huge favor and subscribe, as it only take a few seconds and will help me out a lot. Thanks.